So while you deal with this waking dog for a moment, I'm going to readdress Edward and that percentage roll. During the time that Edward was guarding and trying to have a little bit of communication with his patron, the overwhelming sense that he got during that time was that he was being watched,
Oh no.
that his patron was waiting, that there was a test to be had. And in that, Edward kind of goes back and his mind through this and like in a sort of sense of recounting the day, he lights back on looking at the tree and the battle encounters that he's had and the conversation with the traveler and having to be pushed to seek out information.
Mm-hmm.
And he remembers the sort of half heard conversation that he had in the village where he couldn't quite remember if he was seeing the benches in front of him of the speaker's hall or the pews from his childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of like thinking through all of these things and trying to remember all of these things. But he just keeps coming back to those moments of like trying to find information and trying to collect information and trying to hoard information, just wanting to learn. Just it's not bad to be curious, right? What what is a test in curiosity?
Oh no.
Am I not curious enough? But knowledge is power and power corrupts. And that just kind of keeps circling back and back. And
Mm.
you hear voices of your old teachers and how they would speak about knowledge. And then at the very end of that moment where you are deeply in reverie, you see the spinning wheels and eyes and wings again for just a flash. And you like snap out of that prayer like
Mm.
you bolted upright from a dream.
Mm.
And that is his experience in that moment. With
Okay.
that, Callum is the first to wake. What would you like to do?
He would take a look around the tent, kind of take stock. I see that Arbor isn't in the tent.
Correct.
Grab his gear. Probably like I feel like I deal with I got like a travel rash, like kind of like the snack to start getting something to eat,
Yeah.
kind of thing, like the
It's that
loaf, whatever,
breakfast
like a travel
granola
loaf.
bar.
Yeah, exactly. Like the lambus bread kind of thing of kind of munching on something as
Yeah.
he kind of leaves the hut just to take stock of the crows, the kind of what's changed since he was in watch, but also
Mhm.
probably most of all to see if he can see where Arbor is.
You can see some very distinctive snow prints in the snow heading back in the
Walking.
direction that you came from.
No, and there's no note. Like, he'd probably look for some kind of sign of like what's happening. Like,
Roll me a survival check. Just to see how
yeah,
observant Callum is this morning. Okay. You have a pretty good idea of where Arbor was over the course of his watch. As might have been expected to Kellum, there are very obvious prints over to the hot springs. There was some time spent next to the hot springs, and then Arbor got up and walked back the direction you came.
And no return path or anything can be seen at that point.
Nope.
You probably get a little nervous since there's no note or no sign of Arbor at all.
Mm-hmm.
You see him popping back into the tent. Whoever's closest or looks the most alert, kind of thing, like seeing if there's someone else that he doesn't want to just run off and be like follow out without people knowing what's going on.
Yeah. The next one up is actually going to be Edward.
Seeing Edward stirring, like, I don't know if anything's wrong. Take your time, but just so you know, Arbor's track lead away. I'm just gonna go see what's going on.
Edward obviously slept as well as he could, but he still doesn't feel that great. And he trusts Kellum very well. So, he's trying to wake himself up and keep that usual relaxed and calm demeanor. He nods. He says, if you do need help, just give a holler. But not too loud to wake everyone. You know what? Everyone's waking up already. If you need to, please, I will be here for your help.
Good. And so then I double back out the hut and let Edward continue to slowly wake up. I still feel like maybe not sneak, but still quietly, more direct path, like not following the tracks, but kind of heading towards where I see them going and start walking towards where Arbor headed. Keeping an eye out. Again, crows are top of mind, just not sure, so more cautious, but also trying to spot Arbor as far off as he can.
Yeah. So you get about 80 feet away from the hut before you see Arbor. Are you going to fully approach him before you?
What can I see?
You can see the clear forms of Arbor and this dire wolf.
Can I tell kind of what I'll say, like state, right? Can I tell kind of how their posture kind of thing from that distance?
Make me an insight roll, just because it is at a significant distance. Blep, you will be the next one to wake up.
Blep simply removes herself from the tiny hut, immediately pulls her sword out. Again, she's still on edge from last night and just goes, has anything unusual happened since I was asleep?
You exit the hut before you say this?
Yes.
Okay. 2 crows take off.
I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. How snowy is it right now, by the way?
Significantly. Easily 1.5 feet of snow is accumulated in the area.
Oh my God, gorgeous. She's so small.
Mm-hmm.
Oliver, perhaps maybe when we're ready to leave, turn me into, I don't know, a reindeer?
This is what you wake up to, Oliver. Is this shouting from outside the hut?
Huh? A reindeer?
I'm quite aware of my stature, and the snow is already half covering me. So,
oh,
if you wouldn't mind, something that could maybe
Um,
traverse snow a little more easily.
In the place where you are
I
right now, it's like 4 inches of snow, like between the mountain wall and like the edge of the hot spring. But like if you look out to where the snow is actively falling, easily a foot and a half of snow has accumulated overnight.
Mhm.
Oh,
Oops.
with that, Arbor, would you please describe to Callum the scene that you have with the dire wolf?
Hi. Bet you didn't expect to find me out here. Sorry for wandering off, but I just couldn't help but check in on this guy, and he seems to be doing much better now. I did a little healing spirit for him and seemed to pick him up. He's doing much better than when we last saw him.
So you're okay, and you didn't see anything unusual. You were just tending to the dire wolf.
Yeah. There hasn't been much of anything other than the snow increasing.
I feel like there would be a sigh. Like Kellum wouldn't be like you wouldn't really get it. Like you kind of frustrated a little bit. Like you left watch to go deal with a dire wolf that was minding its own business. Like that's not what you do on watch. He's not gonna say it. But like in his head, he's just like really kind of sigh, deep breath, and say, "Everyone's waking up. We should probably head back and get ready to continue to scale the mountain."
Getting pretty chilly out here anyway, and I'm sure this guy has a pack to get back to, so I think that is the best plan anyway. We wander our way back over.
As you leave, the dire wolf, which had kind of settled, just and like looks up to watch you walking away.
Bye, friend. I would give it a little pet on the head, but I don't want to get attached, so just give it a knowing nod.
Okay.
Head off on our way.
All right. And then it'll kind of settle back down into the place that it was. The two of you head back towards Liamon's tiny hut. Yes, Oliver.
So, considering Sir Blep's request, I look through my lexicon of like things that I've seen in books and stuff, and I can see that a potential option for a large beast that can traverse the snow more easily is, I think, a mammoth would do, and I believe that's an option. So
Blep is also probably listing off options as well, like, oh, well, what about a dire wolf? Or I shouldn't do anything that should fly. Perhaps a bear. Or what other forest creatures are there?
Out of character, we do have that orb thing that I think clears the snow. Isn't that
does
the
it?
boon does?
I thought it just protected us from the weather's effect. I didn't realize it also cleared the snow.
I can't remember exactly what it did, but I feel like it was when we were in it, it was safer or
It
easier
was
travel.
warm.
It was warm.
I don't remember if it melted
I-
snow or not.
is it like we're in a hamster ball of like safety from the snow?
I vaguely remember it being something around like safe travel or like unobstructed travel. I don't know exactly what it would look like if it actually like goes away and melts, or if it's just like hamster ball.
I don't remember giving you an exact description last event. I was reviewing other aspects of our last event as well.
That would be funny. I was just like, being this been a month, that was the one thing. It's like I don't as characters, we would only be like hours after receiving this thing that was supposed to make it easier for us to travel.
Yes. I am. Of course, I didn't save it. That would have made too much sense. Useful past me. So you didn't really get much in the way of an actual description for the boon that you were given. But yes, it provides safe travel for you. You don't know exactly, and you haven't really had the chance to try it out. You guys received it and then basically went to sleep. So unless somebody wants to identify it and figure out exactly what it does before you take off up the mountain, it is trial and error at this point.
Who is currently in possession of it? Because it's not me.
A good question.
I feel like it was probably Kellum. I was a
think
T-Rex. I could
Oliver-
not take possession
It was
of the thing.
either Oliver and I feel like Oliver had something in his bag or so. Like we had to give the traveler something. I forget who had the thing at the. Kellum can have it
Okay.
on him,
Okay.
or at least in his possession, like in the hut. He'd
Mhm.
probably take it with him as he was doing his other stuff. But
Mhm.
it'd take some time to try and figure out what it is exactly that the orb does.
Okay. So you will take time to attune to the item, basically. So it does a couple of things here. I'm gonna check my notes really quickly here to see if I actually wrote it out on a separate page, because I don't think I did, but maybe I did. But I don't think that it actually got saved, because I started making an item on D&D Beyond, but it looks like it didn't actually get saved, much to my dismay. So the small orb that you have was in a rough-hewn pouch, and unlike the forge coal that Oliver got, which was a round, sort of palm-sized orb of obsidian, this item is almost like one of the contact juggler's mirror balls, in that it's about 3 inches across, and it has a glass exterior and then a copper styled interior that is etched across that entire internal surface, and it glows very faintly. It is very difficult to see that it is glowing at all in the daylight, even as dim as it is. And it is only because it is dim that you are able to tell that it is glowing at this point. If it was absolutely dark, it would have a very, very dim light. It would glow a very small amount, and probably only shine light for a couple of inches or so. But you are able to tell that it behaves very similarly to a drift globe, in that it is able to give you a little bit of direction. And it also creates a sort of damper on the environment around you. Basically, it allows the temperature to feel about 20 degrees more temperate. So in this case, it would be 20 degrees warmer. And it allows for that space to be more of a stasis. So, like, if you were to go and stand out in the wind, you would feel more of a light breeze than the heavy winds that are blowing across the surface of the mountains now. You're not exactly certain how far you can test that. Like,
Mhm.
it's unlikely that you'd be able to stand in a tornado and be fine, but
Right.
it does give you a bit of a buffer on the elements in that way.
Practically applicable, not let's go.
Yeah, let's
Like,
let's
let's find a tornado. Let's just,
let's go be
jump in
storm
the
chasers.
water. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
just jump in the ocean, like jump into the lake or something, like a frozen lake. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I tell how large that buffer zone is?
You only have the one, so the buffer zone is a 10. No, it should be a 15-foot radius. So it'll be
Radius.
tight quarters for you to
Okay.
all be in that spot. But while you're traveling, like traveling in a line,
Mhm.
it's going to be tight quarters for you. No, 15-foot radius doesn't make sense.
That's 30.
Yeah, it should be a 20-foot diameter. A 20-foot
Okay.
diameter
So
from
10-foot radius.
yeah.
Okay.
Just a very quick. I think while he's identifying this, Edward kind of awkwardly clears his throat to get Sir Blep's attention and
Mhm.
then says, I don't know how comfortable you would be for such a thing, but I am rather tall if you need someone to, carry you. But I don't want to be rude. I'm not sure how it falls within the dignity of a lady such as yourself.
Well, I wouldn't mind at all, but this may seem rude. Are you sure you can carry me?
It's actually a very good question, unfortunately.
I have a lot of heavy equipment on, and
No. I understand. I understand what you're saying. If worst comes to worst, I'm very happy to aid you as much as I can. But you bring up a very good point about, and then he kind of trails off and he goes,
I appreciate the offer.
Certainly.
Yes, Oliver.
I may have a solution for this particular issue. I have a spell that I can cast as a ritual called Tensor's Floating Disc. So, if Sir Blep is uncomfortable with the snow, I think you can just ride the floating disc.
How large is the disc again?
Based on the spell notes, it's 3 feet in diameter and 1 inch thick. It floats 3 feet above the ground and can carry up to 500 pounds.
That'll
So if
do
you'd
it.
like, if you'd like, I can cast it, and the disc will basically follow me everywhere. So you can just ride on my disc, and you should be fine? Question mark.
Yes, I think that will work just fine. I just don't want to slow everyone down because of my stature. So,
Oh, you'll be fine.
Team Small over here working things out.
Team Small. Is there enough room for you to ride on it as well, or?
Oh, I don't think I'm allowed to ride it because it'll be following me. But
Oh.
I can fly. I'll be fine.
Is it safe to fly right now?
What is the follow
Uh,
distance on Tensor's floating disk?
It's
Because
up
I
to
remember one of the
20
like
feet.
one of the like ways to keep it from being OP was like it had to follow at a certain distance, I think.
Mhm. So it'll follow me from 20 feet away. But
Yeah.
if I make an attempt to move more than 100 feet away from me, the spell will end.
Okay. So it can be no less than 20 feet. Or I'm sorry, yeah, no less than 20 feet from you.
It's like attached to me with like an invisible rope or something.
Right.
So it's like it'll always be like 20 feet away from me because it's like always following me.
Which is exactly the diameter of the
Yeah.
the environmental.
What I was thinking, I think once Kellum, and this
Oh.
is partially a mechanic question of I don't know what it is, but can I give it to someone else and have them be the center of that stasis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I believe with my background, I'm basically unhindered in the snow. We have snowshoes now. Like the snow isn't a huge deal for me. I'm happy to give the orb to Sir Blep to have that be the hub of the 20 feet. And then I just stay out front, and you guys should mostly.
That doesn't solve the tensor's floating disk problem.
Right. I was like,
So if you're
except
still
from the
trying to
floating
use,
disc.
yeah, if you're still trying to use tensor's floating disk, you can't have either of those people be the hub of the.
Yeah. With the orb and the snowshoes, I feel like would make it easier to traverse the snow. Because you have the stasis and the
Also,
temperature.
I will point out that Edward, out of all of you, has been apparently not affected by the cold in the least.
Fascinating.
Edward has been entirely unaffected by the cold, as best you can tell.
If the problem is that Sir Blep is going to be cold and needs to be carried, maybe what we can do is we can just put all of the equipment on Tensor's floating disk and then have Sir Blep be carried so that they won't be heavy.
But so offload, your suggestion is to offload the kit that Sir Blep is carrying so that Sir Blep is lighter.
Mm-hmm. And then
the
Sir
disc is
Blep
our
can be
pack
carried.
mule.
Yes.
The Tensor's floating disk, yeah. We'll carry up like 500 pounds. Should be fine, right?
Sure, she'll still have her chain shirt and her sword, though, which adds a bit of weight. But yeah, we could offload like her other packed items onto the disc.
We can tie it down with some rope and stuff, right?
I love that the biggest puzzle in this entire one
Has
shot
been,
not
how
been
do we
anything
carry-
I've devised.
Nope.
How do we carry the small person?
We had shoeless
Sometimes a
Oliver.
family taking care of disgrace.
Yeah,
Now it's
the biggest
not
puzzles
Blep.
in this whole thing have not been anything I have devised. Alrighty.
Heading up the mountain
Go
now that
team.
we've resolved this.
Yes.
Okay.
So what is the formation at this point? Now that we have devised different ways for everybody to get moving here.
Callum will offer to be the front again with traversing the snow and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably ask that Arbor is close with the talisman.
I am not staying in the back this time after what happened last time.
He'll also offer up the orb. Whoever wants to be the hub for that is happy to pass it off.
So that would probably be whoever's directly behind me then if I'm
Probably the
second in line.
third person.
Yeah.
I would like to be next to Arbor, my fellow feathered friend.
Okay.
So I'll probably
think it
be
would be-
orb person.
I think Edward will take up the rear for this one.
Okay. So we have Kellum, Arbor, Oliver, and then Edward with Blep. Did Edward end up carrying Blep, or is Blep like in the midst, or what ended up happening?
Feel like he's like giving her a piggyback ride.
He
So that
definitely
she could
is.
still have her sword on her back.
All right.
And he was a big gentleman about it. He was like, that's for you. And he's just like, yay. He's like, oh my goodness, family. He's very happy
I
about
love
it.
him so much.
All righty. Edward, would you please roll me an athletics check just to see
That's
how
what I was
gracefully this
expecting.
happens?
Oh God, he's going to break his leg.
Because like you've got time, but I want to see how gracefully this happens on the first approach.
He's going to break his legs.
Because at the very least, you can take 10 for 10. Hey, not too bad.
Okay.
Above average. Like it's a little bit awkward, but not horrible. You didn't fumble it and drop Blep into the snow. You're doing all right. All righty.
Thank
So
goodness.
kitted up and arranged with your traveling party, Kellum forges away into the snow. And as predicted, the snow is heavy and intense. But with the boon of the traveler's orb, you are able to traverse without really a whole lot of impact at all. As long as you stay close in that radius, you are able to continue up as if you were traveling at the bottom of the mountain before the snow had really come in. And yes, there's still like standing snow and such on the mountain. But with the snowshoes and everything, you are able to traverse fairly well. And Edward, you're actually surprised. Like you see the rest of your compatriots kind of having a little bit of, just the occasional like slips of grip and footing and things like that. But you're doing quite well. You seem to be remarkably sure-footed, and you're even a little surprised with it yourself, because you can tell like the environment is not great, but you're doing quite well.
Oh, yay. Hooray. He's never been in snow, so he feels very confident in himself. He's like, yes, I can do this.
Blep is like mildly impressed, gives him like a shoulder pat, and just goes, "You're doing great, Edward. Keep it up."
The head as you're
Thank
riding. Like,
you.
Yeah.
Onward, Sherpa.
All righty. We are going to kind of gloss over this bit of travel here. And as you continue up, you do notice that when you finally leave the hot springs area and you are able to kind of start up the path earnestly, the 4 crows that were still there in the area have kind of taken off and make kind of a wide berth around you, up the mountain and out of sight.
up, noticeably up the mountain.
Yes. Like they pass from behind you around up the trail that you are headed.
Ahead the way that we're going.
Yeah.
So presumably into worse weather than where they already weren't really supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because of bad weather.
Yes.
Got it.
So you continue on, continue up. Let's see here. I would like, let's do perception checks from everybody in the group, but Callum, you can roll with advantage.
It was helpful.
Very helpful. That is looking pretty good. Is that everybody? Yeah, that's everybody. Alrighty. So as you continue on, Kellum and Blep are the first to see, though Blep being at the back of the group, that's a little surprising. But you are the first to see, and Oliver is quick to see as well, that up ahead of them there is a hefty snowbank that has accumulated in your travel path. And it looks like as you approach, Kellum, it's easier for you to see this being at the front, that it looks like a snowfall, like there was a slide of snow at some point overnight. And the what would have been a fairly heavy snowfall on the trail has now become a large blockage of snow,
Mhm.
making the trail impassable as it is currently.
Okay. He'd probably not say call, but he'd kind of pass back down the line that we've got an issue up ahead and kind of slow up, and
Mhm.
would probably not speed up, but kind of get a little bit ahead of the group and try and figure out, kind of scout around and just see if he can find alternate paths or any way to continue forward.
Okay. Make me a survival roll if you would like. And anybody else is also able to assess or assist. Also, for clarity's sake, this is several hours travel up the mountain from the hot springs.
I have an idea, but it's a stretch.
Okay.
So this is objectively a wall of snow.
Mm-hmm.
Would I be able to cast Pass Wall on it? Probably not, because it's not a wooden, plaster, or stone surface. But it could be worth a shot, maybe?
What level spell is that?
A 5th level spell.
Yeah, this
It would
it's
be too
not
easy.
it's not like solid enough for the spell to take hold here.
That's what I figured.
It's too the density of the material isn't right to fall into that category.
Great.
Edward, were you trying to assess the situation or assist Kellum?
That was honestly a mistake, but that is a really good mistake. So, whatever helps best in the situation, I will say.
Okay. So one of the things that you are noticing, Edward, is that while the path ahead of you is basically non-existent anymore because of this snow slide, you do notice that, like, because of the shape of the mountain here and the way the wind has been blowing against the surface, there is actually a pretty clean cliffside here. And there does seem to be a ledge within decent reach of where you are now, if you have the right equipment to just scale the wall here. And Kellum, with your 20, that is not a bad assessment either, because you are able to kind of look at the area and you're focused on the snowdrift. And
Yeah.
you are able to see, like, while there is a good bit of snow, it's not particularly tightly packed. It's not going to be the kind of thing that you're going to need like shovels and pickaxes to get through. But
Mhm.
in order to forge through it, it's going to take you a bit of time. As
Right.
far as you can tell, it looks like the lay of the land here is pretty good. So you could just plunge through the snow. You won't be able to see much, but
Mhm.
you could just find a way through the snow or melt the snow away or something like that and still clear your path. Um, but you are able to at least see that the wall next to you is pretty bare for being in snowy territory.
Sure.
The path itself seems to be, at least the stonework leaning up to it, stonework, is pretty even. It's not particularly loose gravel or anything. So you're not expecting there to be like bad terrain in this snow area.
Mhm.
Um, but you're more focused on the snowbank than you are the
Yeah.
open area around you.
So I also have a kind of crazy idea, but like, what does the snowbank look like? Like, is it more like rounded, or is it more like? Because I've got water walk,
It is
which
it is tall enough around you that you like, even at Edward's height, there's going to be a significant amount of snow like above and around you.
okay,
But if you when you step back like 10-15 feet, you can see that the shape of the drift is not mounded here. It is like a large amount of snow fell from higher up, and a bunch of it collected and filled
slid.
in this
Okay.
section of the mountain.
Yeah, because the water walk is interesting because it even works on snow. Can walk on it as if it was harmless ground, solid ground. So
Right.
it acts like it's just an incline.
Does that apply to you or to the group? I can't remember.
Up to 10 willing creatures can gain the ability for the duration.
Okay. Yeah. That would apply here.
And it lasts for 1 hour.
So you both have had two very separate ideas at this point. So it is up to you guys if you want to communicate those.
Yeah, but it's described like that, right?
I feel like Blep would also toss us a suggestion into the ring, like, this might be a good time to change me into a large snow traversing creature, and I can just carry everyone. And that, I don't remember, how long does polymorph last, Oliver?
It's up to an hour based on
Okay,
my concentration.
so if Kellum's water walk runs out before we clear past the snow, then maybe polymorph me, and I can carry everyone.
I could also spider climb up this wall, and I have a rope on me.
We have quite a bit of rope.
Yeah.
We have so much
We have
rope.
so much rope.
So
Well, does spider climb take any kind of like spell or resources or anything? So just you can do it.
it's a 2nd level spell. I don't know how much footing I could get at the top of this to really. I mean, I'm not the strongest, so I don't know how much I could haul people up, but we could definitely get the small ones up, I'd imagine.
The weather is still pretty bad, right? So flying is not an option for me here? Question mark.
You can fly easily within the diameter of the orb. But if
guess.
you are not holding the orb, you will exit the diameter of that weather buff, and you will then be subject to heavy winds and heavy snow, and potentially lightning.
Maybe not. Ooh,
A lot of
ooh.
ifs.
Maybe not then.
Well, before we spend spell resources, do we want to give the orb to Oliver, fly up the ledge, and just see if there's a place to tie a rope? Then
we could, but are you guys gonna be okay without the orb for a while?
How tall is the ledge?
The ledge is probably 70 feet up from where you are.
I mean, if we want to be absolutely sure, I can always just cast Lumen's Tiny Hut again as a ritual. So you guys have shelter from like the storm, and then I'll take the orb for a bit.
How about everybody rolls me a survival check really quickly?
Okay.
Real quick. Okay, so Kellum, Edward, and Arbor, all three of you kind of come to this realization all at once. The snowbank is not really moving with the wind blowing against the mountain. So if you guys like dug into the snowbank a little bit, you would have protection from the wind. So if you were standing there for a few minutes while Oliver flies up with the orb, you would have protection from the wind and the elements if you like dug out a little igloo situation in the snow. It wouldn't last long. Like it's still going to be cold for most of you. Because Oliver is the one with forge coal. Edward will be fine. But like you would have protection from the elements in that space for the short duration it would take Oliver to fly up the mountain.
I could also pass the forge coal along while I have the orb, right? Because I wouldn't be needing it.
Yeah.
Question mark?
Because you get that weather buffer from the orb as well as from the forge coal.
I'm open to both. Climbing 70 feet could be interesting compared to polymorph for water walk, but I'm open to use the spell slot to do the water walk if that's what we want to do.
It's up to you guys. How do you want to traverse this obstacle?
I think the plan of me scouting for a second just to see if we can probably make this without spending too many spell resources, right? Just to see, because it's basically free for me. I just fly. I can take a look probably, and then we'll make up a plan based on that information.
Sure.
Okay. So do I need to make a roll of some sort to fly up there, or?
Not really, because you are going to be the one holding the environment dampening orb. So
Okay,
you are
luckily.
in pretty moderate conditions as long as you are holding that orb. Who do you
Okay.
hand off the forge coal to?
Whoever needs it the most. Anybody? Question mark.
Edward seems to be pretty well protected from the chill at the very least. It's probably up to the other three in regards to how impacted they are from the elements.
Gleb will just take it
Hmm.
temporarily.
Okay.
All right, I'll pass it on to Sir Blep, and then I fly up to see what's what with the snowbank.
Awesome. So as you take off and move away from your compatriots, they are now no longer protected by the traveler's orb. And the boon relinquishes the full force of the storm onto all four of you. So I am going to give you the opportunity to make this decision retroactively. Would you like to have dug into the snowbank before Oliver took off?
Oh, I thought we did
Yeah.
that already. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
no one said it was happening. There was just the collective idea.
Yes.
Which meant that it did happen.
Yes. All right. I will give you guys the chance to have done that. So you are in place. You handed the forge coal to Blep. You actually notice, especially being up high the way you are, Blep, the forge coal is comfortably warm to the touch. But you actually notice that you're kind of up against the ceiling of the little alcove that you guys made in the snow, and you catch a couple of drips on your head as you guys are there in the snowbank. So Oliver, you take off up the side of the mountain and you are looking around, and this is like a nice fall day to you. It's a little breezy, it's comfortable, like it's nice. And so you fly up to the next ledge there, and it looks like there is a pretty traversable path up here. It looks like the way that it narrows slightly against the mountain surface allowed a lot of the larger snow slide to just kind of miss that section. And so this surface is actually pretty clear. How much exploring do you do up here?
I think because I don't have a lot of experience with the outdoors, I wouldn't know exactly what to look for anyway. So what I'm gonna be looking for is safe passage and anything that could be a threat to us. Like anything, like for example, not just like enemies and whatnot, but maybe like for example, uh a pit that people could fall into or whatever, right? Or
Difficult terrain.
potential avalanche or whatever, right? Well, anything like that, right? So
Awesome.
I'll try to look for anything like that.
So let's start with a perception check from you.
Oh, all right. Perception. There you go.
Perfect. Okay. So you're looking around and you've got a pretty decent traveling path here. It looks like there's a pretty solid place where you guys could put a grappling hook or two to put ropes in place so that you guys can actually get up here. It looks like there's, a pretty decent stretch of upward path that you can continue on. You're not noticing anything that looks like a Yeti cave, for example. You're not noticing any deep predator style tracks or anything like that. Nothing really sticks out to you in terms of what might be particularly dangerous. Looks all right.
Is there anything that I can do while I'm up here to help my party get up here? Like, can I secure a rope somewhere so that they can climb up more easily?
Do you have a grappling hook with you? And do you have
I
enough rope to throw down to them at that distance? Did you bring any of those things with you?
Good question. Let me see. It looks like I have playing cards.
Okay. So let's do an investigation check really quickly.
Okay.
Okay. You're not sure, like there's a pretty good like edge there. That seems like you might be able to get something like attached, but you're not really sure, like you don't see like a good place or a better place along that edge that lines up with the path below. But yeah, there might be something that you could like wrap a rope around or hook a grappling hook to. Looks like it might
All
be all
right.
right.
I can fly down and report this to my party, and maybe somebody can lend me a grappling hook and some rope.
Mhm.
Just in case, yeah. So I'll do that. I'll come back down, and yeah, guys, it looks like it's a lot clearer up there. But also, you guys have any rope or a grappling hook or something? Maybe I can like help you guys climb up a little easier.
Blip literally pulls out the grappling hook and the rope that we got from I think it was the constable that we got those
Okay.
supplies from,
Yes.
and just
you
goes,
got-
"This should
you
probably
got
do."
a 50-foot skein of rope from
Yes.
the constable.
Mhm.
I will remind you that the cliff edge is 70 feet up from where you are currently.
I have
Um,
another 50 feet of rope in my backpack.
we can just tie
Alright.
that to
We
each
make
other,
one
right?
big rope
Yes.
There
and
you
hope
go.
that the knot holds.
Yes.
Fantastic. Somebody else besides
Which
me,
order
please
are
tie
you
that because
putting
I
in?
have no idea how to. I have no idea how to tie knots.
Alrighty. Anybody who would like to assist with that, go ahead and make me survival.
Mm.
While that's happening, I'd
Or
also
sleight of
like
hand,
to.
either option. You would also like to?
I'd also like to consult with Kellum about where is the best place to attach like a grappling hook to make it safe to climb. Because I have no idea. It looks like it's slippery up there, so I wouldn't want to have anybody get hurt because I messed that up, right? So
I love that Sir Blep and Edward are the best at tying knots out of this group right now.
Hey, I never had any formal training in that. I just have the rope.
What do you
Edward's
mean
had
you
a lot
didn't
of
go
time.
to the
Oh, there we
Academy
go.
of Knot Tying? Like,
I was doing all right with the survival check there.
It's a fun hobby, somewhat. No, it isn't, but it's something to do.
Idle hands are the devil's playground, right? May as well tie some knots. Alrighty. So you guys are able to safely affix the rope to the grappling hook and the two ropes together. For my knowledge, what order do you attach those ropes in? Which rope is attached to the grappling hook and which makes up the last 20 feet?
I would suggest that the constable's rope be attached to the grappling hook and then our extra rope attached to the bottom.
Okay. Alrighty. And Kellum was going to advise Oliver on grappling hook placement. Silently. I think you might be muted, Kellum.
I am muted. That would help if I actually unmute first, huh? Let's say this.
I
That's
like
how
the
much I
idea
know.
of him just beginning a sentence like
Thinking
6 times.
quietly. Like, what would I actually know about like the rock climbing part of it? Like, you want to find, a good hold. You want the hook to actually hook in.
Yeah.
Right. You want to have it be able to actually anchor.
Yeah. So, Oliver, you can
I'm
then.
literally taking down notes.
Of course he is. Oh, of course he is. So, you can make your survival check with advantage to place that rope up at the top there. Thanks to Kellum's instruction. Okay, there's the first one. Go ahead and make it again.
Did it work? Question mark. I'm not
I
sure.
saw one roll, so just go ahead and roll your survival a second time, and we'll take the higher of the two.
Oh, okay. I'll roll another time. There.
You rolled you rolled the same roll twice. Excellent.
That's
Perfect.
it's fine.
Yes. But that is enough that you were able to at least find a place of purchase for that grappling hook. As the first person kind of puts their full weight onto that grappling hook, it is going to slip a little bit, but it's better than nothing. You're doing okay. It's not the best place, but it's enough to get by. However, as soon as you guys are out of the enclosure, you are in the effect of the winds, unless Oliver flies back down to protect you guys. Also, Sir Blep, I meant to check. Are you wearing a helm?
I don't think so.
Okay. Your head is very wet over the course of this series of events.
Right. She just kind of shakes it off.
And Edward is probably getting a couple of drips here and there as well.
He does the same thing. He kind of does a little bit of a shake, and then he realizes what he's done. He's kind of like,
Yes, Oliver.
I was muted. Sorry. I don't know if prestidigitation will help in drying, but I can at least warm people in their clothes.
I will
Maybe.
give you that. Yeah, I'll let it clean them up a little bit.
Okay, just hopefully it helps, friends.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
So I'll help everybody on the climb up, and the orb, I suppose, whoever is like with the most people, because I assume we're climbing up one at a time, right?
That's up to you guys. How you want to get up the rope is entirely up to you guys.
I feel like if the rope slips, I mean, coming up at the strongest, but kind of if even if he tests the rope and it sees it slips a little bit, probably recommend we don't do more than one at a time because you don't want to overload the rope and have it fall. So maybe those a little bit stronger can go up just to help those after. Maybe Oliver, if he doesn't mind flying a bit, can be the escort.
Yes, just in case something happens, I can help.
Okay. What order would you guys like to go up in? And
Great
then I will
question.
have you roll your athletics checks to go up the hill or up the
I can go first.
side of the everything. Alrighty.
I will take up the rear.
I'll stick somewhere in the middle, I guess. Maybe third or second. If someone else wants to take third or second, let me know. But somewhere there in the middle.
Okay. Arbor, would you like to go before or after Edward?
I'll go before. We'll stick, at least as far as I'm concerned, in the same order we've been in. Especially because I have the talisman around my neck at this point, and I have no hesitation. I do have land stride, so in theory, difficult terrain is a non-issue anyway. So
Okay. Alrighty. So Callum, please roll your athletics check. I'm in the wrong window. Oof.
The best.
Okay. All right. Wow, it's been a long time since you did rope training. It has been a very long time since you did any kind of like scaling or rope rescue or any of that kind of stuff. And it shows. So you like get a little bit up off the ground and you like lose your purchase almost immediately. And you kind of shake yourself off, having slid basically down. And instead of like falling off the rope and onto the ground, what happens is you lose your footing on the wall and just kind of like swing and face plant against the wall for a second there before you can get your feet up and under you again. And the worst part about this is that you've really just wounded your pride, but I am going to have you roll an acrobatics check for me real quick.
100%. There's
Or a
definitely an
dex
embarrassment.
save. So either acrobatics or a dex save.
I will dex save.
All right. So you managed to not smash your nose into the mountainside. You're able to at least catch yourself, and it takes you a bit to get up that rope, but you're at least able to recover and get up without too much trouble there.
Physically recover. I'm
Emotionally,
gonna
is
be
a different
processing
story.
that. Yeah, that embarrassment's gonna take a little while to.
Yeah. Yeah. Note to self, redo
Yeah.
all of that rope training that you did as a
Yeah.
young ranger.
Rope to
Find that
sell.
climbing gym in the city
Yeah.
to balance it out.
Exactly. Arbor, please roll your athletics check for me.
Not bad.
13. Slow and steady. If Callum's approach taught you anything, it was that slow and steady wins the race. So you are able to kind of see where the more slippery, icy parts of the mountain are. You're able to get your feet into position and just head up the rope in decent time. So nicely done. Next up, Edward. Let's see how that goes.
Let's do it. I'm feeling good. Edward's feeling good. He's feeling really good.
He's feeling really good. Man, he's seen 2 people get through this. He's got this. He is raring to go. He is sick of standing here on this snow-covered ledge. Up the rope he goes. There is something about this, like, so perfect. Like, there is something about this that just keys into his, like, youthful days, right? And he is just ready to get up that rope and on to the next thing.
He feels like a kid again.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Also, I'm going to point out that everybody who is on the upper ledge, you are going to roll me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Interesting.
And then Blep, please roll me your athletics check.
Okay, I have advantage. Someone knocked on my door. I apologize. So we're gonna do 1. And I don't know if it automatically does the advantage thing for me. Nope, I have to do it again.
If you right click on your skill check or whatever, it'll pull up the little menu. Or I'm sorry, not right click. If you click something, I forget. It's like shift or control.
It is right click. It's
Yeah,
the shift and control. They still pop it out. Right
I
click.
just
gives you
hit
the
it twice.
option to-
So
Yeah.
yeah, but I got 19.
Awesome. Excellent.
Nope.
The success of your compatriots has given you a great deal of confidence in getting up this rope. Clearly, you are doing well.
I'm so
you
proud
are-
of everyone.
Yes, yes. Blep is just here and so excited and so ready to be on to the next thing. It's fantastic. Nicely done. All righty. So, for all of you lovely folks who were hanging out up on the top ledge there without any protection from the elements, for those Constitution saves, we have Callum. This is not the worst experience that you have had, but it's you realize now why it was easier to be down in the embankment than up here, because you are quite cold. There's a lot of wind, and you are suffering windburn very quickly. And so, like, as soon as you are up there, you are scrambling to get your scarf good and pulled up around your face, making sure that as much of your exposed skin as possible is taken care of, so that you are not getting immediate frostbite. Arbor, you have had your spill in the snow and you want none of it. You have been quite well bundled up ever since. And so you are doing okay. Like, you can tell if you had to move through this, it would not be a fun time. And you've got a little bit of that, like, squint going on. But you learned your lesson, having fallen in the snow yesterday. So you are doing okay. Edward, it is not cold, but if you have ever been out on a midwinter day and you just have that needle sharp wind
Oh no.
that, like, you are fine in terms of temperature, but the wind is just cutting at your face because, like, you've been really comfortable up till now, right? Like, it doesn't feel chilly to you, but you have not been exposed to the wind of this storm in this way until just now. So because of this, for both Kellum and Edward, we are going to do
We're gonna do
There you
nothing.
Gonna be nice to us.
Mm.
Okay, so Edward, you take 10 cold damage, and Kellum, you take 5.
Oh no. Oh no.
I am going to
Goat.
check really quickly. All right, so Edward, you do have resistance on that damage. So that does mean that by the nature of your fancy item, you are able to round that down by half. So you only end up taking 5 damage. But
Oh, that's great.
you sustained 10 damage, but you have resistance granted by your item.
Right on.
So there you go. 5 damage each of you for exposure to the elements. Once Blep is up the rope, you are all in one place again. So you guys are all able to be under the benefit of the Traveler's Boon again, which is lovely. And you are able to continue traversing up the mountain. It is several hours of travel later and much trudging through similar environment, eased by your individual abilities or items or natural skill and the assistance of Callum's great knowledge in the environment, that you were able to make an easy travel continuing up the hill or up the mountainside until you reach a protruding archway that has been crafted into the mountainside, that is a deep basalt. It has that very crystallized shape to it that basalt fields will have, which has the natural forming stone formations that are kind of hexagonal. Those are basalt fields. And so you have what looks like a basalt archway that has occurred on this mountainside that is filled in with a solid face of stone.
Might I roll for religion, please? I'm curious about this.
It's obviously not a natural formation.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to confirm.
It does not match any of the other, like, stone face of the mountain.
Yeah.
It's very clear that there is volcanic rock here, but it's not as if this entire section of the mountain is basalt.
Actually, filled in archway isn't a supernatural, like basalt and then other rock filling
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
Am I noticing anything on the talisman? Like, is this the next cairn?
The with the current mode of the Cairn Walker's pendant. The light, the light in the track is just making very slow concentric circles in the obsidian field.
Can Bleb just be reckless and go up and try to go touch the rock that's filled in the archway and like see if it's actually solid?
As one of my favorite people says, you can certainly try.
Okay, yeah, she's just
What
gonna go up and
is-
try to put a hand on the rock.
Okay.
What does a 19 do for religion? Just
The religion check that you have made, with a 19, you remember the speaker talking about a stone room, an ancient stone room. You don't see anything particular on any of this formation that looks like religious symbols or information. As far as you can tell, it's a pretty blank stone slab, with stone columns next to it. But there is something about it that looks very old and like it was intentional.
okay.
But yes, Sir Blep walks right up to that stone slab and goes,
Plop.
"This is a stone slab."
Listen, now we know it's not an illusion.
I'm getting like the speak friend and enter vibe kind of thing
A
from like
little
the doorway.
bit. A
Like
little bit.
this is clearly something. We don't know what.
Mm-hmm. It's stone. It's there.
Is there anything else around in the general vicinity of the archway that's noticeable?
Make me a quick perception check. Also, I'm going to have Arbor make me a perception check as well. Callum, you look around and you're not noticing a whole lot. Like this does seem to be a bit of a trail end. You're not not noticing like much in the way of stuff being kind of in this area. Because of the nature of this particular area, you are able to see that there is a little cairn, a little stack of stones with a little porcelain deer print that has been laid out specifically as a trail marker. But there doesn't seem to be much more beyond this area. But you are noticing that there are crows
I was gonna.
out in the area. There's a little like spindly tree that is kind of off in the area that's blowing a bit in the wind, and two crows are desperately trying to hang on to it. And you also notice off to one side there are a couple of rats that are like kind of nibbling around the cairn as well. Arbor, you have a look at this stone slab and the archway that's there, and this is druidcraft. This is some of the like rudimentary magics that you remember learning at the beginning of your abilities, and this is a very clear example of stone shape and druidcraft magics.
I see. That's fascinating. I have something up my sleeve, if I can find it. So, in theory, I can meld into this stone,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if that gains us any further information because I can't see when I'm in it. But could I meld through it and see if there's anything on the other side?
What are you looking to use for that?
Meld into stone, which is a 3rd level for me. Oh, unless. Oh, never mind. Wait, let's look at stone shape, actually, which is a 4th
Okay.
level. There we go.
Okay, because I was looking at meld into stone and like this is the sneaky I am now one with the wall spell. So you're looking at stone shape.
Yes, stone shape,
Okay.
which in theory I could make a small passage through. Yes, that's
Yeah.
what I
So
would
no
like to
more
do.
than 5 feet in any dimension, which allows you to make.
I knew I had something up my
Yeah,
sleeve.
you
Just don't
could
remember what.
you could clear a good portion of this slab. The height of the archway is taller than the slab is, but it would allow you to cut out a 5x5 gap in the stone if you so choose.
And in theory, we could see if there's anything on the other side of it. If
Yeah,
that would be deep
be
enough,
able to.
yeah. Let's
Yeah.
go for it.
Okay, so you cast stone shape and take out your druidic focus and describe to me how you would like to shape the stone as you cast the spell.
Would love to shape a small passage through the wall.
Okay. So you begin the spell and press your hands forward towards the stone slab, and as you begin to part that 5x5x5 cube, you realize that you have broken through the slab after about a foot of stone, and you are able to just open up a doorway in the stone into a dark passage.
And in theory, I have dark vision, so in doing so, I could see if I see anything
Mm-hmm.
in said passage.
You do not see anything in the passage ahead of you, but you do see a very dim light that seems to be shining from the right at the end of 40-ish feet of hallway.
I would love to relay
Crows
that to the rest of the
react.
group.
Do the crows react
Also,
to the door being opened?
Oh,
one of the things that you do notice as light shines into this passageway is that there are etchings along the inside of the passageway in a number of different languages and magical runes in different schools in this area. And as the door opens, as the slab opens, the 2 crows that have been hanging on to the door or the tree near the door will fly in to the passageway.
I don't like that. I don't like it.
But it means we're
On the right path.
we're where we need to be.
Can I
But we're also-
decipher any of that text on the walls?
Same
Make
question.
Anybody who would like to look at the text on the walls may make me one of the following: an arcana, a history, an investigation, or a religion check. Or a nature check if you speak primordial.
Oh.
No.
Maybe I should do that. I rolled religion already, but I do speak primordial. Oh.
Okay. We have. I'm going to take your first roll because it's the first roll that
Please do.
wanted to go with anyway. So you got lucky. But Arbor, you are seeing, like, there are lots of things that you can't pick out here, but you are seeing a lot of religious information about the Sojourner Divine in this hallway, and a great deal of reference to the blessing of shadows and smoke, and the world being or not the world, the mountain being kindly and welcoming in a lonely past. And Oliver, you are seeing with your arcane knowledge a lot of what your schooling has taught you to be anchor points. This is a seat of power that has been secured and protected and infused with and both of you will pick up on this. This is a hallowed ground. This is truly a holy site. And it is a lot of the information that you are seeing on these walls is not only a history, but also an effort to create a hallowed space in this chamber. And all of you can pick out that same moon with horns image that was on the talisman that you guys all saw previously. That shows up repeatedly along the walls here. Yes.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the thing that the dude from the village was talking about? Like, are we in the right path here?
Seems that way.
Okay.
I
I don't
also
remember
think it's
the.
safe to say that our presence isn't a surprise anymore. Our presence is known.
And as Kellum says that, you can actually see and hear a bit of scuffling in the adjacent chamber. You can see the light flitting about, and you can hear shuffling papers and like footsteps on stone. I would like everyone to roll initiative, please.
No, I'm good.
All right, I guess.
If you say so.
Respectfully, no.
Respectfully,
Oh my
no.
god.
Oh
Why
no!
do I keep rolling ones on initiative?
Oh, this is painful.
By the way, if you're within 10 feet of me, there's a couple of benefits to being close to the paladin. So, wait, I just lost them. I'm not. This is what happens when I misplace my glasses. All friendly creatures within 10 feet gain a +4 bonus to all saving throws. You guys can't be charmed and you can't be frightened. Let's keep that in mind. As long as you're within 10 feet of me.
Like we'd all be still standing like at the entrance, huddled in the traveling sphere, the boon. At least to start.
Okay. There is space for you to walk side by side down this passageway. You would be in cramped quarters if you have more than two of you side by side, but you've got a solid 10 feet to work with in this passageway as you move forward. Also, I need to add the crows to this. Give me just a moment. So, how would you like to proceed down the hallway?
My up like initiative order?
Yes.
Or
Or what method would you like to proceed down the hallway? We are not in initiative rounds yet.
Okay.
But I just want to have that initiative in place should we need it.
Well, if we fit 2 by 2 and I just cleared the opening, then I think it would be you and I that are at
probably
the front.
still at the front.
Probably.
Yeah.
If we're
Love to
going
have her
in,
sort out.
yeah, like if we're going in, Kellum really doesn't do best in the front. So if we're going to actually move in situationally, maybe Sir Blep can take my spot.
Sure. She will totally scoot to the front
Leading.
if given the opportunity.
I can take kind of a step back. That way I'm at least one behind.
And I am wearing my nature's mantle, so in theory, I blend in. Now I'm skinny, I don't take up that much space, but it probably makes sense for me to take the lead for once.
Yeah. Oliver?
Do I have time to cast a couple of spells on everybody just to maybe help out and stuff?
Sure.
Okay, so I'd like to cast Mage Armor on myself. As a ritual, I'd like to cast Telepathic Bond on the party. So just in case we get separated or whatever, we still have communication.
You want to take 10 minutes now to cast telepathic
if that's
bond?
okay. If not, I can burn a 5th level spell slot for it. If it feels like we're in a rush, I'll do it.
That is up to your party.
Friends, I can.
feel like
it's
you're
fine.
not gonna have 10 minutes.
That's a long.
All right.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
All right. I'll just cast it then. Boom. Telepathic Bond.
Okay. Anything else?
I think that's
right.
that's it for now.
Does anybody else have anything that they would like to do as their prep action?
No.
Would I be able to have, I'm not sure, but would I be able to have Magic Circle as a prep action? Is that a spell that I can have as a prep?
Let me have a
I'm
look
not sure.
here really quickly.
Yeah, just to be safe. Especially since we're in such a narrow space. I want to make sure that that is possible.
If you cast it now, it will land wherever you put it.
In that case, I will hold off.
Okay.
Disregard, I will hold off.
All right. You can ready your components and everything so you can have it available to cast as soon as you feel comfortable doing so. But
That's perfect.
okay. So, we proceed down the hallway.
Yep,
How
we're
are
going.
how are we on light? Do any of the people in the back need additional light, or do we want to keep it low key? I got dark vision, so I can see fine.
I also have dark vision.
I have a torch if needed, so I'm
Okay,
happy
great.
to light that.
I also have dark vision. Dancing lights as well if you guys need it.
It
I
is
will
up
make do.
to you guys how you want to do that. If you want to have the light or you don't want to have the light, but you can see light around the corner that something is moving with a lantern over there.
Mhm.
And you can hear sound down that hallway.
As we get closer to the end of the hall to like turn the corner, I would like to use my divine sense to detect good and evil.
Okay. Remind me of the wording of detect good and evil, please.
Sure. Until the end of your next turn, you can sense anything affected by the Hallow spell or know the location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover. I have 5 uses of this, so
Okay.
figured I might as well expend 1.
Okay. I don't know why.
I am thoroughly impressed, and I approach Sir Blip, and I'm like, "Wow, can you actually feel good and evil? What do I feel like? Am I good? I hope I am."
What in the world?
Takes the goodest of girls to know.
Yeah. Corgis are she'll just whisper, Corgians are great judges of character. You're lovely, Oliver. Now let me concentrate.
Oh, sorry. Okay, thank you.
I am not sure what's going on with my encounter board right now, but for some reason it didn't pick up Oliver. And I am grumpy about it.
He too
What
small.
happened? Did I get
I-
eaten into the shadow realm? What happened?
It's like you're not part of the party for some reason.
Yes, he is.
Am I
Yeah,
the
Emily!
Amogus?
Don't you dare say
give me just a second here. Let me see if I can fix that.
2 things to add on to what can be detected because it says sense anything affected by the Hallow spell or know the location of celestial fiends or undead. That also, because of Hallow spell, includes elementals and fae as well.
Thank you. So, what's the distance on that again?
60-foot radius.
60-foot radius. Okay.
I'm sorry, it just says within 60 feet. So I imagine if like in a line, if I'm focusing my attention in a certain direction, that's 60
right.
feet.
Okay. So, you are in a hallowed location. Like the whole space around you is hallowed. Sorry, I am having to manually enter the initiative rolls because I wasn't running the encounter before we started. Apologies. So the entire space is hallowed. And you are definitely able to sense no less than 6 fiendish beings
Great.
in that radius.
Lovely. So Blup will just whisper, there's definitely trouble up ahead. Everyone be on guard.
Thank
Knew
you.
we didn't like those ravens, crows, whatever they were, those birds.
They were crows. Ravens have a very different eye. I'll tell you about it later.
Also, there are fiendish beings behind you. There are fiendish beings ahead of you, and there are fiendish beings behind you. I almost forgot.
You forgot?
To the left doesn't feel to right, here I am.
Yes. All right. So with that, All right. I am set now, I think. So, are you guys continuing down the hall? Are you
Well, if there's ones behind us, I feel like Blep would turn her attention. Like, would we be able to see anything behind us?
Well, the
you
ones
turn to look around and there's nothing particularly noticeable to you.
What the fudge?
we're doing the Scooby Doo thing where we're
Does it-
creeping with our
It might
backs
be
to
too
one
far
another.
away.
Like I just,
Does it give you a heading? Remind me. Does it give you a heading? I'm sorry, I was trying to work on the initiative order.
It just says you could sense anything affected by a house spell or another location within 60 feet that is not behind total cover.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a perception check then. I'll give you a chance at this.
It's a 10, but I really wanted it to land on 15.
Okay.
Mm.
Remember those rats that you saw out by the cairn?
Oh, come on,
Karen?
Cherny.
Nope.
Cherny.
Nobody checked.
No, they're rats.
thought
We're
about
supposed
it.
to insight check the rats. They're rats. They could have.
Nobody checked the crows either.
We thought
I'm
they
not
were
liking your
weird.
vibes. I'm not liking the vibes. Rancid vibes.
Rancid. Rancid vibes.
The number of
Darn.
questions that you guys have not asked. But I do know that we are on a hard stop here for things. So I would like to know how you guys would like to proceed at this point, because I would like Oliver to be as present for this as possible.
Yeah.
But don't worry, I have plans.
Oh no.
Huh?
I mean, Callum would he wouldn't draw like fully ready, but they're definitely like knock an arrow and kind of have it in his hand, so it's more easily available, but not like openly threatening with it, like kind of thing.
Okay. So he's just readying an attack, basically.
More ready, yeah.
All right.
Yep.
You continue to hear scuffling and movement from the other room.
You said these are fiendish creatures, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
Yes.
Could I ask what languages they might know, or is this something that I have to roll for?
You do not hear any speaking right now. If you would like to remember in your memory, you can grab a religion or a history check for me.
I love how you think. That's what I'm gonna do. Oh.
12. Okay. Best as you can recall, most fiends are probably going to be well versed in Infernal. Some of them are able to speak Common. Some of them are able to speak a whole lot of other things. It depends on where they're from and how intelligent they are.
I'll keep that in mind.
Some fiends don't speak a language because they have a low enough intelligence. They behave basically as beasts.
I'll keep it in mind. Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty. What we doing, guys?
I think we have no choice but to march onward.
Blep was ready
Okay.
to heck and fight.
If we're flanked on both ends, I just keep trudging along because it's kind of the only option.
Okay.
Cautiously, not aggressively, but like ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will also point out that detect good and evil doesn't tell you what kind of fiends. It just gives you a ping on a radar. So you don't know what it is that's behind you. Exactly. And the only creature that you can see within the radius of that spell that's behind you are 2 rats. So you continue forward. As you are continuing forward, remember how there is that right turn in the hallway. You see the edge of a tensor's disc standing in that, floating in that doorway, with a chest on it and a couple of loose scrolls and a book that are noticeable to you. And you hear, as you approach that turn, you hear sort of a higher pitched grunting.
My concern right now.
By any chance, does it sound like infernal or does it sound like language?
It sounds like a sound of effort.
Can I like peer around the corner and see?
You see a goblin a little bit shorter than you
Uh-huh.
hauling a very large book over to the tensor's floating disc. Make me a
I
stealth
like
roll.
books.
Oop, okay, heck. Stealth. Let's see how that goes. Oh, a 10.
The goblin seems to not notice you. Hauls
Really?
this book about the same size as it up onto this floating disc and like and toddles back off into the other room.
How far away is the disc?
It's sticking out into the corner a little bit.
Uh-huh.
But as you are able to like peer around that corner, you are able to see a larger open stone room with a brazier that's been lit that is glowing orange. And the room is lit by this flickering light, and you see shadows in the room moving around. And a lot of hasty scuffling.
Do I get the sense that that was like the scuffling shadows are the fiendish presence that I sensed, or?
Those were the ones that were in the right radius
Okay.
to have been there. Yeah.
Okay.
I would
She's
like everybody well versed in magic to roll me a perception check.
Gosh darn you.
Oliver, I would like you to roll with advantage, please.
Thank
You
goodness,
said
'cause I rolled a 1.
Perception, right?
Perception check, yes.
Perception. Thank you.
Oh, much better. Good. So amid the scuffling, everybody can hear that sort of scuffling movement sound, but the three of you are able to pick out a very familiar scratching sound. Edward, you can't quite place it, but Arbor and Oliver, you know exactly what this is. Someone is chalking out a circle.
Like a protection from X circle.
It is some kind of circle casting that is being hastily crafted.
Okay, so through our
It is some
telepathic
kind of spell that involves a circle of some kind.
Okay, I'd like to relay that information to the entire party through our telepathic bond. And I genuinely don't know if I should be concerned. I
Okay, if we-
believe that these circle spells can be interrupted, right? But I don't know if we should.
With him relaying that information, would I be able to roll for Arcana? Because I didn't capture it quite at first, but now that he's explained it, maybe that kind of triggers something.
You may. And
Gotcha.
anyone proficient in Arcana is also allowed to do that as well. Ooh,
Okay.
23. Very nice.
Helen would mention that if we do want to sneak up, I can put Path Without Trace on us quickly before we turn the corner in earnest.
Follow-up
Okay.
question before that. How large is the room?
It's hard to tell because
Mhm.
you're catching it at an angle.
Okay.
But you can see, at least 20 feet
Mhm.
past the entryway that you're in.
Mhm.
So it's at least larger than 20 feet in one dimension.
Mm,
It
okay.
doesn't seem to go very deeply in the wall that you can see, but it's at least 20 feet in one direction.
Mhm,
So the
mhm.
door is probably off center on the wall that it's on.
Okay.
With that Arcana check, Edward, that's a circle of teleportation.
Oh.
You can recognize the symbols that are being there's that cadence that you get from like writing on a chalkboard. You're starting to recognize the runes. Enough of the runes you've heard are exactly what that order of runes is. It's a circle of teleportation.
Oh boy. I do relay that to the group very, very quickly. Not out loud, since we still have the what's it called? I'm sorry.
Telepathic bond.
The telepathic. That's the word. My goodness. So I do relay that information, and I say, I don't know what their plan is, but be on your guard much more than before. And his eyes are like darting around.
There's another small shadow on its way to the door.
Callum will go ahead and just cast Pass Without Trace on the group
Okay.
preemptively.
All right. Go ahead and make those stealth rolls.
Yeah, plus 10, everybody.
Is there a way to add the plus 10, or should we just add it in our heads?
I don't think there is directly on D&D Beyond. So go
That's
ahead
a
and make your
36 for
roll, and
Callum.
I will add 10 to each of those results.
Sorry, I got excited. I did the Breakfast Club like fist pump.
Oh, we saw. We
Oh, yeah.
witnessed it.
There was, yeah.
We felt it.
It was-
Everyone
yeah.
saw it. Tragic.
It was reaction first. Wait. Oh, yeah.
It was a
Why would
moment.
you? Yeah.
We a stealthy bunch.
Uh-huh.
Very
Lowest of the-
oblivious goblin also. So there's the next goblin carrying now like a small reliquary sort of chest and nudges it onto the disc next to the other stuff and then goes off again.
We should move if we're going to do something.
The tensor's disc floats into the other room.
Head for the door. Bobby's
Oliver,
just gonna-
is that for me?
Just in case we need to very quickly disrupt the Tensor's disc to like stop them from taking whatever they're taking, if that's the plan. Tensor's disc can be made to disappear if you put more than 500 pounds of weight on it. So maybe a couple of our heavier members can jump on it just in case if we need to do that. Just saying, as somebody who knows Tensor's floating disc, I know its limitations too, right? So I relay that information to the party, right? Telepathically, just in case we need it.
Pylon disc. Got it.
Are you doing that now? Because it's floating
was.
into the room.
Is it floating into the room with the door where we hear the chalk happening?
So it's not
Okay.
a door, it's a doorway.
Yes,
It's
doorway. Sorry.
threshold.
Yes.
And yes, it is going into that larger room where you are hearing somebody put down that teleportation spell.
They're teleporting the items. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alternatively, I could also just polymorph somebody into a heavy animal, and they could just like flop onto it.
Save your spells. If we have to disrupt it, we will. But maybe for right now, we focus on the people
It's
doing the
actively
thing.
moving away from you.
I think
Let's
this
go in for
might
the doorway.
be a good opportunity for me to do the sneaky stone spell. Oh, but then I can't see anything.
Yeah.
The
Plus,
disc is
you already
5
have
feet away
pass
from
without
you.
trace.
We need to move.
Maybe we can guide you through telepathy. A little more to your left.
What are you guys doing?
Going for the doorway.
Through the doorway or for the disc?
Doorway.
Okay. Blep is going to forge in through the doorway, make their way around the disc, and into the room. Blep, you are the first one to see. In this room, you see no ravens. You instead see 2 imps in the corner, as well as 2 goblins and a bipedal jackal-like creature that is bent over, quickly chalking out the teleportation circle.
Got you. How large is this chamber?
It is 20 feet by 30 feet.
Okay, perfect. As soon as I'm in the room and catch eye on the imps, she's going to because if memory serves right, imps are fiends. She's going to use her channel divinity to turn the unholy. As an action, you can censure fiends and undead. Each fiend or undead that can see or hear you within 30 feet must make a wisdom save. On a failure, it is turned for 1 minute or until it takes damage.
Okay. A wisdom saving throw?
Mm-hmm. And that's a
All right.
DC of, I believe it was 16? 16.
I think with Serplet going in, Callum would have stayed kind of say on the hip, kind of behind in our kind of formation that we've created, right? Blep first, Callum second.
Okay. Ooh, okay. There we go. That's what I needed. I was like, this has to be. What was your DC?
16.
Alrighty. So the 2 imps and one of the goblins immediately stop what they're doing and like back up against one of the walls and hiss at you. And the second goblin immediately shapeshifts and stands tall as a bargeist. The final creature turns slowly from what it was doing, putting a final flourish on its last rune, and stands up tall and steeples its fingers and says, "I'm sorry. Did you need my attention?"
Blep just readies her sword and she just goes, "Yes, I need someone to test my blade on," and then rushes him.
Okay, we are officially in.
Oh my god.
We are officially in initiative.
Here we go.
Well,
She just
Dive on in, everyone. Let's go. Deep in. Dive.
What I did not expect to be a combat encounter. Hello and welcome to your combat encounter.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She's still there. Fiends aren't good.
Let's do this.
It's a fair reaction.
Understand.
She's chosen violence.
Yeah.
So sorry.
As a reaction, you see this creature quickly shift its hands and grasp its bracer
Uh-huh.
and cast out its hand, and immediately Oliver opens his eyes wide and slumps to the floor. And you see this line of white light with spiraling blue and silver and red make a beeline from the center of his sternum into the bracer of this creature.
You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me.
What did you just do to him?